When we think about growing older, many imagine gray hair, wrinkles, and hopefully, family gathered close by. But there's something even more precious than the company of others, something we often take for granted until it's gone. That's the ability to move on your own. Mobility is not just about walking from point A to point B. It's about freedom. It's about dignity. It's the quiet confidence of knowing I can still take care of myself. Think about it. Being able to get out of bed in the morning without help. Reaching for a book on the top shelf. Cooking your favorite meal without waiting for someone else to do it. Stepping outside to feel the cool morning air on your face. These are small acts, but together they form the foundation of independence. And the truth is, the greatest fear for many seniors is not death, it's helplessness. It's the thought of sitting in a chair, day, waiting for someone else to feed you, dress you, or help you stand up. Protecting your mobility is protecting your dignity. I once met a man named Harold, 78 years old, in a park in Florida. Every single morning, he walked laps around the path with a cane, rain or shine. Curious, I asked him one day, "Harold, why are you so committed to this routine?" He smiled and said, "Because the day I stop walking is the day I start waiting for someone to help me. And I don't want to wait. I want to live." His steps weren't fast, they weren't perfect, but they were his. And that gave him peace. Harold still drives to the store. He still visits friends on Sundays. He still climbs the 3 steps to his front porch with pride. Not because life made it easy, but because he refused to stop moving. The beautiful thing is, maintaining mobility doesn't require running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It starts with small, consistent choices. A 15-minute walk. A few gentle stretches while your coffee brews, using resistance bands to keep your muscles awake. The body listens more to your actions than to your age. And here's the hidden truth. Physical mobility doesn't just support your body, supports your spirit. When you can move, you feel confident. You're more likely to say yes to an outing, yes to a trip, yes to life. You stop shrinking into fear and start expanding into freedom. So, if you feel stiff today, if your knees ache or your back feels tight, don't judge yourself. Just start where you are. Stand up, roll your shoulders, take a few extra steps in the hallway. Do a little more today than you did yesterday, because every single step you take is more than exercise. It's a declaration. I am still here. I am still living. And that foundation, the strength to keep moving, is something no one can ever take away from you. As we grow older, the body isn't the only thing that changes. Our circles shrink. Friends move away or pass on. Children get caught up in their own lives. And suddenly, the silence in the house feels louder than any noise we've ever known. And that is where emotional resilience, the strength of the heart, becomes the most important companion you'll ever have. Now, let's clear up a misconception. Being emotionally strong doesn't mean you never feel sad, never cry, or never get lonely. Strength doesn't come from denying your feelings. Real strength comes from being able to sit with them, feel them fully, and still rise again the next day. I think of a woman named Eileen, 77 years old, who lost her husband years ago. She lives alone now. I once asked her, "How do you get through the hardest nights?" She smiled softly and said, "Every night I light a candle. Not for religion, but to remind myself I'm still here. Some nights I cry. Some nights I laugh. But every night I tell myself, you made it through today." That tiny flame, to her, was more than light. It was resilience. You see, resilience is not about pretending the pain isn't there. It's about learning to carry it without letting it crush you. It's about acknowledging, this hurts, but I can handle it. And every time you survive another storm, you become a little less afraid of the next one. So how do we build emotional resilience? It doesn't happen overnight. But there are simple practices anyone can start. Speak to yourself kindly. Don't scold yourself for feeling sad. Accept it. Create small, grounding rituals. Writing in a journal. Walking slowly through nature. Listening to music that soothes your soul. Remind yourself of this undeniable truth. You already survived every single hardship life has thrown at you up until now. That is not luck. That is strength. And here's the gift resilience brings: freedom. When your heart is strong, you're no longer a prisoner of other people's choices. If your son forgets to call, you don't crumble. If a friend moves away, you don't collapse. You stay steady because you know how to stand tall, even in loneliness. In fact, emotional resilience rewires the mind. It teaches you not to overreact. It slows your thoughts, calms your nervous system, and reminds you that you are capable of withstanding change. And in the later years of life, when change comes more often than we'd like, that is one of the greatest gifts you can ever give yourself. So yes, family may be far away, friends may come and go, but if your spirit remains strong, you will still stand clear-eyed, steady-hearted, rooted in the quiet truth that you are enough, all by yourself. When we're younger, we define ourselves by our roles: a father, a mother, a husband, a wife, a worker, a provider, a friend. Those roles give us purpose for decades. But what happens when those roles fade? The kids are grown. The job is gone. The partner you leaned on may no longer be there. One day you wake up and wonder, without those titles, who am I? The answer, my friends, is found in your personal code of values, Your values are the compass you carry inside. They remind you who you are, even when the world changes. They steady you when people disappoint you. They guide you when life feels uncertain. I once met an older gentleman named Howard, well into his 80s. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't famous, and he didn't have a big family around him. But he carried himself with such quiet dignity, people noticed him everywhere he went. When I asked him about it, he told me, "I live by 5 simple rules. I tell the truth. I never waste food. I always return what I borrow. I forgive quickly. And I sleep with a clear conscience. That's it." No long list, no complicated philosophy, just 5 rules. But because he lived them every single day, he walked with peace in his heart. And that's the power of values. They don't have to be flashy. They don't need anyone's approval. They only need to be real to you. Honesty, kindness, gratitude, simplicity. Whatever you choose, those values become the thread that ties your life together. When you live by your own code, you no longer chase validation. You no longer lie awake at night asking, "Did I do the right thing?" Because deep down, you already know. Psychologists have found that seniors who live according to a personal code report higher satisfaction with life, lower anxiety, and even sharper mental health. Why? Because clarity brings calm. When you know what you stand for, you no longer panic when life throws a curveball. You simply ask, "What do my values tell me to do?" And the answer comes. So here, a challenge. Write down 3 to 5 values you want to live by for the rest of your life. Keep them simple. Maybe it's always be grateful, or stay curious, or treat others with respect. Read them every morning. Let them guide your choices, big and small. Because in the end, true success in life isn't about how many people remember your name. It isn't about wealth, titles, or achievements. It's about being able to look in the mirror at 75, or 85, or 90, and smile knowing I lived according to what I believed. I stayed true to myself. That is peace. That is freedom. And no, not society, not your children, not even time can take that away. So here, ask the truth. A good life in our later years, isn't built only on family or on what we once had. It's built on what we choose to strengthen inside ourselves. When you protect your mobility, you protect your freedom. When you build emotional resilience, you protect your heart. And when you live by a personal code of values, you protect your dignity and peace. Together, these 3 form a foundation no one can ever take away. Not time, not distance, not circumstance. They are the pillars of independence, of confidence, of a life lived fully until the very end. So let me ask you, which of these pillars will you start building today? Will it be a short walk to strengthen your body? A small ritual to strengthen your spirit? Or a simple list of values to strengthen your soul? Start with one, just one. Because big changes always begin with one small decision made in the quiet of your own heart. And if this message spoke to you, I'd love for you to share your thoughts below. Which of these 3 pillars means the most to you right now? And of course, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Not just to support this channel, but to remind yourself this journey of growth, strength, and peace is one we're walking together. Because aging isn't about fading away, it's about standing tall in the wisdom you've built and living with a freedom no one can take from you.